Good morning. If you are new here, my name is Angie Peacock. I was trained as a therapist and a social worker. However, now I am a coach who helps people who are coming off psychiatric drugs, who are questioning their diagnoses, and most of them are leaving this mental health system and finding other ways to heal. So if that interests you, please follow me. Just click on subscribe. That would be really cool. All right. So today's subject is neuroplasticity. And I know this is a contentious subject. Okay. I talk about it with clients on a daily basis, and I have been so busy lately. I am so behind on the videos I want to make. They are coming soon. However, this is one that I've been thinking about for several weeks. So let me give you a little background. I did a video about this when I was about 4.5 years off. So that was about 4 years ago. Because I'm now 8.75 years off of all psychiatric drugs. And I actually tried to go back and watch it the other day, and I was so shocked at myself. First of all, I don't watch my old videos. I have no idea what I even say. It's like it erases like the second it comes out of my mouth. So I don't remember those old videos. But I did try to watch that one. And I will tell you, I was very impressed with how broken my thoughts were and how I jumped all over the place and how I couldn't really stay on the subject and how my sentences sort of stacked on one another because that's just where I was at that time. I was very cognitively impaired still when I was 4.5 years off. Or I think it was actually 5.5. It was right after my dog died, so it was a period of extreme stress and trauma, and it was not, I still have not talked about how that happened, and I don't really want to. Anyway, so back then, what happened was I was feeling terrible. Like, how is this even possible for someone to feel this bad at 5.5 years off meds? I couldn't believe it. And so I started digging around trying to find something to help myself. And I know the prevailing thought in our community is to just lay around and wait for the magical healing fairy to lay on you, to lay the magic wand on you. And I have never believed that. I have never found that to be true. Anything that I have gotten as far as progress has been me trying things or me pushing myself a little bit here and there. Not always. There was times I could absolutely not push at all. I was like in bed, like not moving. But nothing has come easy for me ever. It's never been easy. I look back and I even think, did I push too hard? Is that what caused me to be so severe and why it took me so long to heal? I don't know. I think I was that desperate for normalcy or to stay in reality or to keep my money from the VA, to keep in school. Like I was doing insane things. Like I'm going to be real. There was things that I was doing to try to stay alive that most people would never even attempt. And I just was fighting for my life. So it might not make sense to you, the things that I did, just as your things might not make sense to me. But we all just get through this the way we have to get through it. So my point was, nothing has ever come easy to me. I have always had to like challenge myself, go places with my symptoms, get on airplanes with my symptoms, extreme symptoms, sit in front of audiences of 200 people with a psychiatrist sitting next to me with symptoms for the film Medicating Normal that I was in. Extreme situations, okay? And I think, in hindsight, as I get through this, remember that I'm healing too, right alongside of you, some of which is still withdrawal related or the collateral damage of that, some of which is my stuff from, childhood and whatever. Oh, Raiders barking. Hold on. Let me get him. Okay, sorry about that. Um, so as you heal, your perception of the past will change. And I see this all the time in clients that I work with too, where it's like, oh my God, Angie, when I look back, now it all makes sense. Like, why could I never stay in school? Why could I never reach my goals? Why did I make these really bad decisions? It was because of the meds or because of my relationship with therapy or, all the things. So the same has happened with me as I've healed and look back, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Or, um, this stuff helped me. This made things worse. I have that perception that I can look backwards. So I've been figuring things out as I've gone, just as you all have. And more is revealed, more is always revealed. So I've often had this criticism. People will say to me, well, you're military, you're stronger than I am. And I always rejected that. Like, no, that really doesn't matter. And I think it's both. Like I do think I've been challenged in my life, let's put it that way, with really, really difficult things. When I deployed to Iraq, I lived literally out of a bucket to shower in for 4 months. Like I didn't take a shower. My laundry was constantly filthy. Like I learned how to be dirty. We slept on a cot in 100-degree heat. During the day, it was 130. I was surviving off of 1 bottle of water a day. Okay, most people do not experience those austere conditions. There's a level that you have to come to inside of yourself that I am in a difficult situation. I am trapped and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm in a war zone and I'm not leaving until Uncle Sam tells me I can leave. So, yes, I have. I've jumped out of airplanes. I've rode in tanks. I've rode in helicopters. I have locked and loaded my weapon. I've done some very intense experiences that other people do not have. I have also withdrawn from drugs before. It took me about 10 years to get off of everything. Okay, so I knew kind of withdrawal-ish stuff. I had been through it before, so I had that experience that I knew like it's not going to kill you. It just feels like you're dying or it feels like you want to die. So, it is true that I did come, just like all of you, come to withdrawal with your life experience, your personality, your drive, your constitution, your skills or lack thereof. Everyone comes to it with those things. However, I will also say, and it will take you down no matter who you are. Like I've had professional athletes, lawyers, CEOs of companies just be floored by this. So, including military, I have military that I work with. So, it's both. I think it's both. So just remember that everybody does come with their own situation, okay? So in hindsight, when it comes to neuroplasticity, I have been doing this stuff for years, okay? Um, so let me tell you what happened recently. So in October of last year, so I was about 7 3/4 years off. I had an enormous amount of stress, and I was drinking a lot of caffeine. Um, Less than prior year, but still enough. And I was working way too much, and I was working with many of you who are suffering. And I'll just keep it at that. I had family issues going on. I had some traveling issues going on, like everything all at once. And my body just said, nope, we're not going to do all that. And I could feel it where it was literally, it happened one morning. I was at a friend's house. I drank a cup of calf. And all of a sudden, my vision got worse. My leftover symptoms seem to all be visual related. I still don't know if they're benzo withdrawal or if they're brain injury that was underneath the benzos. I don't know. So please do not be scared by what I'm telling you, because I don't know. I will say the rest of my withdrawal symptoms seem to be gone. That is my remaining thing. It's just a visual sensitivity, it's motion sensitivity. It's I have palinopsia, so like when I move my hand, I can see a trail of fingers. You shouldn't be seeing that. Things like that. I'm sensitive to movement, okay? And that can trigger a danger response sometimes. So I drank that half calf that morning, and then I noticed, oh my God, it was like my brain switched on and said, Angie, look how bad your vision is. And I went, oh shit, like I need to do something. Like, what was I thinking all these years? I've been living like this for 8 years or whatever. So I started digging back through the neuroplasticity stuff because I had used so many of those principles in the past. And if you go back and watch that video, I'll put it up. I think it goes here in that corner. If it's not, it'll be over there, about neuroplasticity that I was reading about years ago. And back then I found this book called Rock Steady, and it was by a woman who helps people heal from vertigo and tinnitus using neuroplasticity. So I thought, well, I have visual vertigo. Let me work with the principles in this book and see if it helps me. And it did to some extent. It didn't cure it. It just kind of helped me be less afraid of it. It was more of my response to the symptoms. So I want you to remember that your response to the symptoms is very, very important. So that happened in October, and I was like, oh shit, I got to do something about this. So I started digging through things. I started managing my stress better. I started like sleeping more, exercising, like Angie, bring the stress down, stop working so much. I changed some of my schedule. And then what do you think happened? In January, even more stress. In February, even more. And then I injured my shoulder. I had a collarbone dislocation. You can still see it. And then my dad came for a visit, and a whole bunch of old family trauma came back up. And I healed a lot of it actually through that experience. And then I sprained my ankle. And then my friend was murdered, and I had to go to his memorial service. And it was just like, can I get a freaking break? Okay. Around the same time, I work with clients. I don't have time to make videos about this, but if you go back and watch Kevin's video, me and him have been working on that. I work with several people that are in protracted, that are leaving the suffering and getting back to their lives and rebuilding their life. And we do a lot of the neuroplasticity stuff in that phase of recovery. Let's put it that way. So a lot of like challenging exposure, calming the danger signal, reacting to symptoms, writing things out. And often I will refer people in that stage to these following resources: Pain for You, Nicole Sachs, Joey Remini, she's the Rock Steady lady, the Steady Coach, the Anxious Truth podcast, Bye Bye Panic. Those are like my go-tos that I tell people, go start listening, go start reading. You need to do a self-study on what's going on. Because honest to God, what I've come to is you can follow any of these programs if you want to. You can also do this on your own. And I actually think it's better to do it on your own, because I don't think, it's just where I'm at right now. I could change my mind possibly. I don't think people should necessarily follow like a regimen. I really do think the world is going to show you, I need healing here. I need healing here. I need healing here. This relationship is not right. You're still kind of panicking when you go into stores. Your brain does not like these lights. Driving is really hard. You know, it's going to show you. You don't have to necessarily like go back through your life history and be like, okay, I need to tell you my whole life history and talk about all the painful things. You can do that. That's Nicole Sachs. She does journal speak, where you write about all the pain that's in your past that is supposed to help release repressed emotion that could be causing symptoms, all the things. Okay, so I started digging through this stuff again. And at the same time, Mad in America, someone that works there asked me, Angie, what do you think about these programs? And I said, I have mixed feelings. I said, part of it feels very gaslighty, because the nervous system communicates with us, right? We're all human beings. So there's lots of different causes of why people have symptoms. Long COVID, MECFS could be stress related for people, or virus related, toxic load related. Breast implant illness can shoot symptoms because of their breast plants, which are like toxins. People can have really bad dizziness, and vertigo and tinnitus stuff pop up from stress from their life. There's all these different causes of why people have symptoms. However, it doesn't mean it's the same cause or the same treatment, because the things are coming from different reasons. So what triggered it could be different. However, the nervous system is similar between these syndromes, because we all have nervous systems and they communicate in certain ways. And so you need to learn how your nervous system communicates. I do believe in that. And I do think this experience will teach it to you regardless of a program. Because you have to learn how to cope with what's happening in your body, and you feel like you're being tortured, and how are you going to exist with that, and how are you going to suffer with that, and how do you improve that? So I'm more of a fan of, this should be a self-study. And I think I've done videos before about like, you're on a healing journey whether you want to be or not. Like, here it is. It's all landed on you. Everything that brought you to the experience is going to show up and say, hi, remember me? You forgot about me. Well, you're going to have to work on me now, because you don't have a choice. So I'm more of a fan of just giving people lots of resources, and you go off and read and see what feels like the best fit for you, see what resonates with you, and just try some of the things, right? So for me, I just exposed myself to all that stuff. I've been using it for years, and it's almost like I think I forgot that, like, that's what you've been doing, Angie. How do you think you've been traveling the country? How do you think you got in the van? How do you think you were with your symptoms? How do you think you like developed who you are? It was through a lot of neuroplasticity. It wasn't no program. And It's just life. If you start going and living with your symptoms, because that's what all of us need to do when you are protracted or once you leave that acute suffering, the world is going to help you fix that. Maybe not even consciously. It just will. You start trusting yourself. You start building safety. You start doing things in the world. Your brain has positive experiences and it says, "Oh, it's actually nice to go for a walk. I like that. Do that again." And you keep doing that, and then that rewires that fear response when you go out in the woods and you're scared of trees. So, I want to emphasize that there's no right way to heal. You don't need a freaking program, okay? You should expose yourself to lots of things, see what fits, see what resonates with you, um, do some of the things and practice some of them. I think the most important thing is we don't feel safe. Like our bodies have been turned inside out, have tortured us in one way or another. That could be with one symptom, that could be with 200. And as it starts to calm down, and you start to want your life back, there are things that need to happen in that transition. Okay. There are ways to build safety. There are ways to feel and look at like what is going on. I just told my protracted group this last night. We were talking about this in detail. And I said, like, when I would go to a post office, my brain would say, "Oh my God, you're dizzy. You're going to fall. Oh my God, I can't breathe. I'm going to fall and hit my head. They're going to call an ambulance. They're going to give me a benzo. I'm going to die." Like my brain would just do that. And I had to learn how to interrupt that and be like, "Actually, I'm safe. Get back in my body. What am I feeling right now? Okay, I'm feeling in my leg." I said, "What else would I'm sorry, what else am I feeling?" And it would be, in my body, my legs felt fine. Oops, that's reminding me I have an appointment, so I have to hurry. Um, shh. My Sorry about that, guys. My brain, I would say to myself, "What else do you feel?" And my legs would feel fine. And I'd be like, "Okay, my legs, they feel pretty good. What did my feet feel? My feet feel good. Okay, take a deep breath." And I would look at the clothes that I was in the store. I would try to look at the clothes and look at the different patterns. And then I would look at the ground and see how stable it felt and see what else was going on around me besides panic. And I would take a couple deep breaths and say, like, "What else do you need, Angie, right now to feel safer?" And sometimes it would just be like, just put your hands across your chest and just like slow everything down. Just slow down. It's okay. There's no hurry. And that would just like snap me out of it. And when I would feel that experience, I'd be like, "Oh my God, this is not all withdrawal. Am I doing this to myself? Like, what's happening?" And it wasn't that I was doing it to myself, it was that my reaction to what the sensations were in my body was creating another stress response that was kicking up the symptoms worse, which would create another stress response. And it was just like a snowball effect. And I would just tumble off the deep end and just freak out and not be able to shop and drop everything and run out of the store. But I couldn't do any of these things until I could do these things, until that acute level can kind of calm down. So, until I can develop more content around this, please, if any of what I said resonates with you, go search out these resources. I'll put them in the caption. Tomorrow is a neuroplasticity and withdrawal class. Do not feel gaslit by these things, though, okay? I have a real problem where people who are still tapering or people who healed very quickly think that their experience should fit with everyone. Okay, I've had a very long recovery. I've had to do these things very slowly. I could not handle a lot of stuff at once. Um, some of us have so much trauma that we have been through that brought us to this point that was caused by these medications. Don't let anyone tell you what you're experiencing is not real or it's not severe and intense. I don't want you to feel like I can't do these things, so I'm doing something wrong, or I can't do these things, so that means I'm doomed, or I'm not doing my healing right. Okay? That is not up to anyone's interpretation but yours. You have to heal at your own speed. And even if you don't and you do nothing, like the girl I interviewed last week, like the hundreds of thousands of people who have healed before us without the internet, how do you think they healed? Because neuroplasticity happens in everyday life. Okay. They didn't follow a program. They just started trusting. They started feeling safer in their bodies. They started feeling safer in their world. They started marching forward. In fact, sometimes I think when you put all these demands on yourself, when you make this realer than it needs to be, that, "Oh, I need a program," that's actually a tenet of neuroplasticity, that the more you make those symptoms real, the more that they will stay. So be careful out there and heal at your own pace. Follow your own intuition. Healing is a self-study. It is a self-study. What is happening for me? What is causing me alarm? What feels dangerous? Why? Well, how can I respond to the sensation? I don't even like to call them symptoms, they're sensations in your body. So that's my message for today. If you get a chance, I know this is last minute, but go register for the Mad in America thing if you're interested in the topic. Take what you need, leave the rest. Don't get mad and feel gaslit. I might too. I'm gonna watch with critiquing eyes because that's just how I roll. So there you go. All right, hope you have a nice day. Bye.